Good evening and welcome. My name is Michelle Jutrissa and I'm an independent demonstrator with Stampin' Up here in New South Wales, Australia. Thank you very much for joining me tonight, and please jump on, say hello. If you're new to my channel, please like my channel and let us know where you're from. It's always good to say hi to new people. So tonight we're going to have a bit of a play with a stamp set that's been around for a little while. It's in the catalogue. It's on page 76. It was a bundle last year, but now this year you need to purchase each piece individually. So it's this one here, Enduring Beauty stamp, and it also has the Enduring Beauty dies. And it's also got some decorative masks, just like last week when I played with the other stamp set with the masks. This is one that came out last year with the masks as well. So I thought I'd revisit it and have a bit of a play and maybe see what we can do with this that's a little bit different. So I've been playing around with a few ideas and I've come up with something. So let's see if what I've come up with is going to work. So let me just pop this to one side. It's going to be a fairly simple card in the fact that it's going to be a black and white card. And I've got a foam mat here because this is a photopolymer stamp set, and I've just got a little bit of scratch paper on top because we are playing with the masks, and I do want to put the notching on the scratch paper of where my masks are going to sit. So, excuse me, I'm keeping my layout of my card quite basic. So I've got a card base, and this is the measurements of the card bases that I generally use majority of the time, and it's 10.5 centimetres by 29.9, and it's scored at 14.9. Now this is a 10th fold card, so that's just going to fold directly in half that way. It is half a sheet of A4 cardstock. So if you're in a country that uses the imperial, then you would need to cut your imperial cardstock also directly in half. It'll be just a little bit smaller. It's 4 1/4 by 11, so you would score it at 5 1/2. Okay, so I'm going to be then using, I've got 2 pieces of basic white here, and one piece is going to be used as my mat, and the other piece is going to be used as my card insert. And then I have got a piece of basic black also to use as my card front. So as I said, very, very simple, and you'll see the reason why I'm keeping it so simple. And I'm hoping that if this all works out well, it's going to look very, very effective. I'm sort of calling this a little bit my ghost stamping. So you will see why. Now, the other product I will be using is going to be the Stampin' Up Whisper White Craft Ink and my blending brush, okay? So they're really the main elements. So you can see now why maybe I'm going to get a bit of a ghosting effect. So what I'm going to start with, I've already blocked up my stamp here on the largest stamp block, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to ink up this stamp. And this is the reason why I've got foam in here, because it is a photopolymer stamp. It's a see-through stamp, and they work much better if you've got some foam in there, because unlike the red rubber, it doesn't have any foam or cushioning in the actual stamp itself. So I'm just going to ink this up. I'm inking it up quite well because the ink in this stamp pad is very different to the inks that we use in our other stamp pads. Okay, so I'm going to flip this over and I'm going to stamp this down around about the center of my cardstock. Give it a really good push Hi, Jean. Hello, Rose. And hi, Deb. How are you all today? Thank you very much for joining. So we're going to give that a really good push down to make sure that that ink has well and truly adhered. And I'm rocked that a little bit, so I'm hoping that that has stamped okay. Beautiful. Probably could have got a little bit more coverage in the stamp, but it will still work. Unfortunately, this the ink in the craft ink pad is a very thick and sticky sort of ink. So yeah, it's sometimes a little bit harder to get a complete even coating of the ink. Now I'm going to hit this with my heat gun, so just bear with me. And the reason why is because this particular ink, your craft ink, takes a little bit longer to dry, and I want this to be as dry as it possibly can before we start putting the masks on top. So I'm just giving this a really good drying off. That should be enough. Whoops, wrong way. And that will just dry that off a little bit. So I'm going to grab the masks. Now with this particular set, you've only got, I think there's only 4 masks in the set. So let me just have a look, put them in order, because I've been playing, I had to wash them before I could use them tonight. Yep, there's only 4, and they're all numbered 1 to 4 again at the top in this corner here, and there's a little notch. So we're going to be using, we won't be using all of those. We'll be using probably 1, 2, and 3, and not the 4th one. Now I'm just going to take that foam mat out of there now. I'm going to put a little bit of adhesive just on the back of my, just going to move that a little bit more, the back of my card there. Don't need much. It's just so then it sticks and stays on. And I'm just sort of having a look where I might turn that around that way. Just sort of seeing where the masks are and which direction the masks are going. So let's just adhere that down onto my scratch paper and hopefully won't move too much. And we're going to grab our first mask, our mask number 1, and I'm going to lay that over the top, matching up those designs. And that looks about it there. And I'm going to grab a pencil and trace around that notch. Now that, what that does is it allows me then when I come to do the second mask is to line that up with that notch quite easily. So let's just go back and line this up, trying not to put my arm into my white ink. Now because this ink is very thick and very sticky, I may have trouble washing it out of this blending brush, but that's okay. It may just, I find with when you're using daubers, I've got a dauber and I've designated it only to be used with the white craft ink. So if this doesn't clean well, I may be doing the same thing with this. So I'm just going to tap off a little bit of that ink onto my scratch paper there. You can't really see it. I probably could do it straight onto my glass, but I just don't want a big blob of white. I want to do this fairly lightly if I can. And we're just going to give this a little bit of coating of white over the top. And this is why I'm sort of calling this like a ghosting colouring technique. So when I lift that, I've just got those beautiful ghosted colours there. So I'm hoping you can see that. Now, I'm sort of thinking I might skip. I don't know yet whether I want to colour those leaves or not. So I'm going to skip layer number 2 for the moment because that's the leaves. And then layer number 3 is what gives us the details in this particular card. So again, I'm just going to lay that on top, matching up those notches up the top there and just lining it up a little bit there. Again, just put a bit of that ink on my brush. Now you could easily use a dauber to do this. And I'm really just going to tap this on, not so much brush it on, but just tap it and tap that colour into those areas. And it's going to come up a little bit darker. Try not to make it too much darker. Just use some of the ink from some of the other places, just spread it around a little bit. But I'm really just pushing that ink into those cut out holes. So that's giving you an image that looks pretty much like that. And I'm actually tending to like, I'll show you the one that I played with earlier today and tell me what you think. That's the one I was playing with today. So this one here, I've coloured the leaves. This one here, I've left the leaves with just the outline. So I'm really tending to like that actually, more so than this. I mean, this looks very effective, but I really do like that. So I might just leave it just as those, using those 2 masks rather than using the other 2, because there's 2 masks for the flowers, which is 1 and 3, and then 2 and 4 does the leaves. And I might leave that off. Now you could hit that again with the heat gun just to dry that off, because as I said before, the craft ink takes a little bit longer to dry, but I'm going to leave that as that, I think, and just let that dry naturally and start stamping maybe our sentiment. So as I said, this is quite a simple card to make, but working on the black, I think it looks quite effective. You like this one, Nicole? Thank you. So I just got my cardstock here. I'm just going to grab a scrap of it. I think that one there will do. And I haven't quite worked out yet, whoops, there we are, which sentiment I'm going to use. I think holding you close to my heart, because then it can be a card that can be used almost in a sympathy, or you wanting to let someone know you're thinking about them for some sort of reason. And I don't often do cards with that sentiment, so just trying to work out which one. That's that one there, I think. And it also has a die, but I'm not quite sure yet whether I'm going to use that die or whether I'm going to, we might just have a little bit of a play here. So let me just move all that out of the area, and we'll grab another block. So I hope you all had a lovely weekend. Last weekend, it just seems so long ago, but it was only a couple of days ago. Okay, and keeping with my black and white theme, I'm going to stamp my sentiment with black. Thank you, Jean. So again, this is my Memento ink, and this is actually a craft ink stamp pad. So this is the one I was using before is very old, and I just need my foam mat underneath this again. And I've just put my Memento re-inker onto that, into that pad, because it's just being a foam, it was a lot easier to use, and I'm finding I'm getting much better results with the stamping. Okay. Now, of course, if you wanted to, you could emboss this, but I'm not going to do that today. Let's move that out of the road, and I need my little cut and emboss machine here and my plates. A little bit wet in Perth, but nice weather. Oh, we had really, really cold weather. I don't know whether many people heard. I don't even know whether I probably mentioned it on last Friday, but we had what they called an Arctic blast come through. Well, most people in Australia got it because it went all the way up to Queensland. So, but it was freezing here. It was so cold and windy. We had huge winds on, must have been Saturday night. I really thought that the tree next to where we park our car was going to come down and fall on top of our car. I thought something was definitely going to happen. A few trees did come down in the area, but bitterly cold. It was down. Temperatures were down to feels like minus 5 point something or 6 point something, I think, one day. But today, back to our normal wintry weather. I think it got up to 12 today, so it was beautiful to have today and no wind. The wind was just bitterly cold. Okay, so there's our little sentiment there, just stamped using the tag die that comes with the set. So let's start having a look at our card because that should be dry enough to work with. And let's start putting this together. As I said, quite a simple little card, just keeping everything very, very basic. Sometimes you don't need to spend a lot of time putting a lot of stuff into it. You know, sometimes simpler is the best. But I know I do understand it can be fun working on things that are a little bit more complicated because I sometimes do enjoy that myself. And we may even end up adding a few leaves and things, die-cut leaves that also comes with the dies for this bundle. So we're just going to get our card base there. I've got my 2 white pieces here. And I'm just going to adhere this on the inside. Yeah, snowfields did get a good dusting, especially around here. It was, I'm sure those who go skiing had a lovely time. But I was sort of hoping for snow. It was sort of almost cold enough to get snow, but we didn't quite get it. I think it was just too much wind here because we have had snow here in the past. It doesn't usually stay for long. I think we've had it that we've seen snow here for about 3 days in a row, but I mean that doesn't happen very often. And it's been about 5 or 6 years since we've had a good dusting of snow here in the Highlands. Now I'm going to also adhere this to my white mat. Still trying not to put my fingers too much onto the inked area, just in case there is a little bit there that's not quite dry. Just give that a good push down. And that's going to go. So it's quite a stunning card. You could use this for a wedding card or a fancy birthday card, anything really. But I just wanted to try that different technique with just using the white craft ink and your masks. You just do have to wash your masks quite thoroughly. And as I said, it'll be interesting when I go to try to take that white ink out of that blending brush. It may not, I may just put a label on it and say white only as yet, because I generally do wash I have a bucket down here, and as I use my blending brushes, I pop them all into there, and then when I've got a few in there, I take them out and soak them for a day or two. That way I don't have a brush for every single colour. So there's our card so far. Now this here, we could pop this on here. I don't want to cover up these flowers too much, but let's just do a little bit of die cutting before I adhere that down. Yeah, black and white always looks stunning. It's beautiful. I love black and white. Okay, so we've got some really nice leaf dies in this bundle. So I just want a couple of those. There's double leaves, there's single leaves, there's even like a little flower piece, and a lot of these come in pairs. So there's two of that particular one. There's the one that cuts out if you want to cut out around the whole piece. And then you've got two of the single leaves, and then one of like a flower in bud, and then these little bud type ones as well. But I think for the moment I'm just going to use possibly just those. So let's just pop these others back here into. So you got two of those. Actually, there's two of each of them, because I've just found there's two of that one and two of that one. So there's doubles of everything. So if you wanted to cut quite a few, it's quite a good bundle for cutting multiples. Okay, so we'll need some more white. So let's just go through here and see if we can find some more white offcuts. Couple that are maybe that piece there. Don't want too many, but I'll just cut a few. Let's pop the lid on that. Hello, Joan. How are you? Okay, let's just bring this back in again. Of course, if we had vellum, I'd probably cut a few leaves out in vellum as well. So let me just grab here. I'll take a pick tool, because I've got a little bit of green. I must have cut something out in green before in that. That's just fallen out. So let's just put these on here. Actually, I won't use that thin piece because it's not going to fit them there, and we don't need to cut too many. So let's just use this, and we're just going to cut one of each. I think I'm going to need a new mat soon. Got a great big huge crack going right across that. But it still works for the moment, so that's good. I'm probably only going to need those 4 little die pieces. Just had a thought though. Let me just grab this. I'm going to cut a couple of extra pieces in black and pop these bits out. Haven't used this bundle for a while, so that's why I sort of thought revisiting it would be good after having so much fun last week with the other bundle. Let's see if I can pop that out. There we go. There's one. That one's popped out. That one's out. So did anyone do anything exciting over the weekend? Or did you make a card? Did you do some scrapbooking? Hi, Glenda. How are you? Okay, I just had a thought, and I'm going to just cut a couple of these also in black. But even though I said I may not use them, they've just got a little bit of white stuck in there. Let's just get that out. I'm just going to grab this. And I want those two little flower bud pieces. So I'm going to cut sometimes those little die cut pieces get stuck. Whoops, there's another one in there. Let's pop that through. So did anyone do anything exciting? Did anyone, as I said, did anyone do any scrapbooking or go anywhere? Spent time with family? My eldest son went to China last week for work. So we're anxiously waiting for him to come home on the weekend just to make sure he was okay and had a good time. Had a lovely chat with him yesterday about his trip. Not quite sure whether he was overly fussed with it though, as I said, it was work. But it was interesting hearing his thoughts on the things that he saw and did. Tried some interesting food while he was there. So, Glenda, you spent time with family and cleaning and gardening. Don't let me anywhere near your gardening. Floral cards is probably the closest to gardening I'll ever get. I'll destroy anybody's garden if they let me at it. African violets are the only thing I can seem to be able to grow. Everything else I managed to destroy. I used to be able to grow hydrangeas, had beautiful hydrangeas when I lived in Mittagong. They're one of my favourite plants too. It's probably why I could grow them, because I like them. You made a card for your great granddaughter. Oh, lovely. You were down in Tassie, Rose. That sounds great. I haven't got grandchildren yet, so I sort of said to a friend the other day, I'm not quite sure whether I'm ever going to see them in my lifetime. The way my boys are going, I've only got 2 with girlfriends and they're nowhere near wanting to start families as yet. Okay, so I'm just going to pop all those into there so we don't lose them. And let's grab this card. And I want to grab some dimensionals. Still using up these little bits and pieces. So I'm just going to pop a few dimensionals. Now I like, as I've said before, I like to put my dimensionals sort of in a little bit, not too close to my edges, so then I can add bits and pieces like your ribbon underneath it, or the die cut bits and pieces underneath. Okay, so let's have a look. So I'm thinking I might pop that just about, whoops, it's a bit crooked now. Almost had it nice and straight. Just about there. Then just flick some of these out. I'm just going to pop some of these into here and just sort of have a look, see what they're going to look like. Just take all these little, I tend to like to take these bits out of the dies, especially something like this, because I want to make them look lighter. If you leave those bits in, then they don't always look as light. Might become too heavy. So there's that little, I think I quite like that in there. Okay, I think that's what I'm going to start doing, something like that. 5 grandchildren, Rose. 3 live close and 2 in Tassie. And Glenda, you're waiting for the great grandies to come in the next few years. Oh, that's lovely. I think grandkids would be wonderful, because then at least you can give them back at the end of the day. Mind you, I do love babies. Okay, then we're going to pop that one there. It's underneath there like that. This one here, I'm going to pop a little bit on there. Stick that down there. Don't want to put too much on here, but I just want to let this, so I'm just sort of, don't want too much because I don't want to cover up the all the work I've just done. I'm just playing here a little bit just to see what a few of these bits and pieces, whether it needs another one. Yeah, I think black one down the bottom would be quite nice. Maybe just push that in a little bit further because I don't want them both at the same level. So I'm quite liking that. Now on the inside, of course, I haven't decorated this at all, but we could, I'm just sort of wondering whether, if I've got this, if I get my trimmer here, just going to give this a trim and make sure that's nice and straight. I want to cut this down to 10. So that's the width of my insert piece. And then I want to cut this at, now I don't really want to do two, let's make sure I've got this the right way around. There's 10. What I'm going to do is I'm going to cut this down to 8 centimetres. So what I've done here, I've cut this 10 centimetres in width. I've given myself a straight edge. I'm going to cut this at 8. It's not that I want an 8 centimetre piece. That's can go, but as I said before, that's 10. Now, because I've got that cut at 8, if I move this across to 7.5, I can cut a strip. And if I move it to 7, I can cut another strip and move it to 6.5, and that will give me another strip, all of the same size. Okay, let's see if this is going to work. So what I'm thinking, oh, that one there is not quite the same size. Let's just grab this again. Cut something a little bit wrong there. Let's cut the slither off. And let's cut it at 6. That's better. Cut one at 4 mil rather than at 5 mil. So we don't want that one. I want those 3. Don't want to lose those because I need them. Let's see if I can get this. Now, of course, you could have used some adhesive sheet on the back of this. I'm going to put one there. Let's move that across a little bit so that goes the full width there. Now, what I want to do is have I want to go I might stick these all down. So I'm going to stick the next one. I'm going to leave a gap. I'm just eyeballing those gaps, and I want to do one more. Just want to have those 3 across there. Then just dotting a little bit of glue on that. Pop that one there, and then we've got this little don't know whether I need any more. Not even quite sure whether I'm happy with the way I've positioned that, but it's a little bit too late. It's stuck down there now. Might just pop another one of these on just over the top, just to take oops. Oh, must have glue on my fingers because it keeps on wanting to adhere. Doesn't want to stay stuck. Whoops. Okay. So let's move all of that out of the road. So there's the inside of our card. Probably could have positioned that one there in a slightly different position. And there's the front with my ghost, I don't know whether they call it ghost stamping, ghost colouring. Yeah, quite a different technique in using just the white ink. And you could do that on any of your dark colours. That would look really great with the Night of Navy, even your Blackberry Bliss. That would work quite well. So because if you can't put colour onto black, but you can put the white like that. So give it a try and let me know how you go if you do give this a try. It's a little bit of fun, a little bit of something a little bit different, but again, just quite a simple little card, and just using black and white to make it look that bit stunning. So thank you very much for joining me tonight. I hope you've enjoyed it. Oh, hi, Roseanne. How are you? Thanks for joining. It's great to see you on here. So I hope you've enjoyed this. If you have a go at this, please tag me in your photos if you put them on Facebook so I can see what you've come up with. I also was playing with this idea earlier because, as I said, this is the one I did earlier where I actually coloured the leaves in with the same. And this is a bit blurry, but because I stamped on the top, but I was also looking at using some colours. So with this one here, I've added the white ink, and then added the green ink and the what I use, lemon lime twist and mellow mumbo, and the colours change. I mean, it's hard to believe that that's lemon lime twist. They really change in colour when you try to work over top of the white craft ink. And the reason why this is blurry is because I lost some of the detail of the flowers, so I tried to stamp again on top. And I think if I was going to try this again, I wouldn't stamp it first. I would actually just use the masks straight down onto the black cardstock and do all the white and then the colours on top, and then try stamping on top of it. But I would probably use something like the Stamparatus, so I could make sure that it was all lined up quite well, because it just looks, at the moment, it looks blurry because it's sort of stamped a little bit out. It wasn't quite out, but I was just playing. But yeah, even this one here still looks quite effective. So you could add those flowers in or the leaves in if you wanted to. So have a go, have a play, As I said, let me know, tag me in your photos if you post them on Facebook so I can have a look at them and see what you're creating as well. So thanks for joining me tonight. Have a lovely week, and hopefully I'll see you on Friday at 1 o'clock. Bye for now.